is where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Okay, yay me. I am now out of talking about candidate purgatory because, see, look, all of the Democratic candidates who are running for office for the most part end up having ActBlue accounts. And because I want every one of those candidates to raise as much money as they possibly can, I keep silent in the primaries because I don't want anyone to feel like I am not taking care of them from an ActBlue perspective because I may support their opponent. So I just keep my mouth shut, right? Is this better that way? But guess what? The election is over. I'm free. I get to talk about candidates. I get to talk about the candidates I like. I get to talk about how excited I am about supporting these candidates. I'm so excited. Now, one thing I must remind folks, these are our Democratic candidates who were voted for by the people in the Democratic primary. They pulled a Democratic ballot and they voted for the Democrats. So if your person didn't come through in the primary, first of all, thank you for putting your name on the ballot and stepping up in this unprecedented year where we have so many amazing candidates who put their name up. Thank you. Number two, get on board with the Democratic candidate. Because if the original goal of the candidate you were supporting was to get to the general and unseat the Republican that's sitting there, that same goal should still exist. That same goal should still exist. Right now, in every race across the state, you have a binary choice. That's it. Binary. That's it. You either go and choose you might have some libertarians and some Green Party people and some other people, but not really. You have two choices. The Republican, who is supporting an administration that's got us with $5 a gallon gas, that an administration that is shooting people in the streets with ICE, that are dragging elderly people out of their homes. You got the cost of living going through the roof. You got a statehouse that is looking to silence Black and brown voters. You get this is your choices. That's what the Republicans are doing because they're not really offering anything to help you improve your life. Or you can choose the Democrat who believes that unions should be able to negotiate in good faith, that teachers should be paid a living wage, that every student should have access to good quality public education, that there shouldn't be a thing as a healthcare desert. That's what we stand for. That's what we stand for as Democrats. So you have a binary choice, people. That's it. So get on board, because if you stay home and sit it out because of one reason, one issue, I promise you that issue that you care so dearly about is going to be in worse shape if you stay home and don't support the Democrat. That's not speculation. That's what's going to happen if you withhold your Democratic vote in this November general election. But let's talk about who's in there. There's some key races that I do want to talk about because I'm really excited. First of all, I'm going to go through all the congressional races so that you know, depending on the district that you're in, who is on your ballot. So in District 1, Frank Mervan won over Levita Sparks Wade with 80% of the vote. First of all, I know Levita. I think Levita is a wonderful person. I love that she keeps showing up. I love that she keeps fighting for her people and her community. Just wasn't her race. So it wasn't her race. So we still have Frank Mervan. He's starting to get some seniority. We are going to work hard to get him elected, right? Reelected in District 1. In District 2, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really sure how to pronounce Jamie's name. So maybe somebody will tell me. It's Decio. I'm not sure if that's Decio, DeCheo. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry. I'm ruining your name. But by the time I get an interview scheduled with her, I will know how to pronounce it. She beat out Sean Michael Mans. with 72% of the vote. So District 2 is Jamie. All right. District 3, Kelly Thompson. She did not have a primary opponent. But if you get a chance, go to my YouTube page, check out that interview. I'm telling you, this woman is a firecracker, right? She is so dope and so ready to win and so ready to get people fired up. I'm telling you, she's a fighter. District 3, we're in good hands. Now, one of the races that had the most people in it was District 4. And Drew Cox beat out Joe Mackey. Joe Mackey, I love you, brother. You put up a hell of a fight. I really appreciate you always showing up and doing the work. You know, me and you are homies, and we're going to always be homies. But I also know that Joe Mackey is one of those folks that are always going to step up. So Drew Cox, yes, he is our nominee in the 4th District. Guys, look him up. There's a video on him too. Yes, because I interviewed him. I sure did. Go check out Drew Cox so that you know who he is in District 4. District 5, the one that had the most attention, right? District 5, you have Senator J.D. Ford, who came in first place with 42% of the vote, and Jackson Franklin, the young progressive, who came in second. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be done with it, because a lot of y'all be standing real toes down and beating your chest and all of that. Jackson Franklin only had 17% of the vote. Unfortunately, he did not win this election. I do believe he has the opportunity to do some other great things. But some of his people, y'all need to chill. And I meant that. Because ain't no sense of bullying people into thinking what you want to think. Get behind J.D. Ford, because if the goal is to get rid of Sparks, then J.D. Ford is the person who is on the ballot to get rid of Sparks. That's it. That's your guy. And I promise you, J.D. Ford knows how to run and win in a red district. Get on board. You can't make any of the changes that you want to see made if you don't win. You got to win. J.D. Ford in the 5th district. In the 6th district, going for the 3rd time, and I love this woman's resilience. She is now Dr. Cynthia Worth. Right, she was working on her dissertation. She's done all that hard work. She ousted Corey Amix. I've gotten a chance to get to know Corey. I'm really proud of the work that he's done. Unfortunately, it wasn't his time. Hopefully, he will stick around. But Cindy Worth, come on, let's get behind her, because Jefferson Shreve is kind of a creep. And I said it. Y'all don't have to agree with me. But let's get behind Cindy Worth. In the 7th district, it was a no-brainer. Listen, I got to say this. I'm not mad at George Tornado, because there is 0 Latino representation in D.C., and I wasn't mad at him for trying to get some Latino representation, but I wish he had gone to one of these other districts, right? Why would you go after the only black guy? And he started his campaign this time last year in 25. He announced he was running in District 7 in 25, but he came in 3rd. He came in 3rd to Destiny Wells, who announced right before the filing deadline. So what does that tell you? Destiny Wells has a lot of followers. She has a lot of people that want to see her get elected. But I'm going to say this again in case anybody is unclear. After the SCOTUS ruling, I imagine that there are a lot of black folk who are all up in their feelings about the fact that Supreme Court said it is okay for states to go around redistricting and diluting the black vote. That black folks said, nah, we're going to keep Andre, because we need black representation in Congress, and we need black representation from Indiana. And by the way, Andre Carson has really done a fantastic job. He's been a great congressman. Ask his constituents. That's what you got to do. And then, of course, in District 8, Mary Allen, she's a fun woman. I didn't get a chance to meet any of the other candidates that were on that ballot. Hopefully, Tabitha, Christopher, and Mario will stay involved and stay engaged. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to meet them. But Mary, I did get a chance to interview, and she's just a fun person with a great personality. Again, she is someone that we need to support in the 8th. And honestly, in the 9th, I'm going to call this an upset. I'm going to say that Brad Meyer beating out Tim Peck, who ran just 2 years ago, with 37 to 31%, that's an upset. So again, Brad Meyer, he was the more progressive candidate. He spoke to people in Bloomington, and he really turned them out. I wonder if his message is going to translate in the rest of the 9th district. I hope it does. But I think he has a good shot down there in the 9th district. So, guys, there's opportunities for us to really get some things done at the congressional level, but we've got to make sure that we show up. I know, I'm sorry, your person didn't win. I really am. But there can only be one winner in a campaign race. But if you're serious, if y'all serious as y'all say y'all are about changing things and flipping seats, then get on board. Otherwise, you just grandstanding. Yep, I said it. You just grandstanding. All right, let's take a look at some key races for the state Senate. In District 15, which is up in that Fort Wayne area, you had Julie McGill beat out Chloe Andis. Chloe Andis, I had a chance to meet her at the Victory training a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry her campaign didn't work out, but we are all going to get behind Julie to make sure she can pull it out in District 15. All right, District 21. Whoa, listen, Kristen Root, I'm telling you, she's a firebrand. I love me some Kristen Root. I will be super excited to do some fundraising for her. She is in District 21. We're going to support her. In District 22, Natasha Baker. I have not met her yet. I will be looking to get her on the show so we can learn who she is, so we can find out how we can support her. She beat out Marlena Edmondson, 62% to 37%. And in District 25, Tammy Dixon Tatum. She came through. That's the Anderson area, if I'm not mistaken. She beat out Todd Shelton. So, Tammy, let's get busy, girl. Let's make it happen. In District 29, this was probably the one that had the most contested, had the most people in the race. This was for J.D. Ford's state Senate seat. So you had Kristen Moorhead beat out Demetrius Hicks. She got 51% of the vote. This was a four-way race, and she got over half of the votes by herself. So I got a chance to meet with her today. I'm super excited about her campaign's plan. Let's get on board and let's help Christina Moorhead so that we can keep this seat, District 29. State Senate seat, District 31. Woo, this was a tough one. This was a close one. Carrie Forrestal nudged out Catherine Zorzinski. I know I messed that up. Catherine, I just had her on the show. She's a wonderful person, but I have known Carrie Forrestal for over 10 years. He will be great in this seat. I believe he has the best interests of all Marion County and everyone in District 31. And I believe he can be incredibly competitive. He's the current outgoing sheriff of Marion County. Nothing like having some law enforcement from the Democratic side in the statehouse, right? To argue for the people of Indianapolis. I love it. All right, let's go on down to District 46. Woo! Can I just say, I'm going to say it. Alyssa Impink is my little sister. I have been knowing her, watching her grow, and I am so excited that she has won that seat, and she did it in convincing fashion with 68% of the votes. It was a three-way race. Cliff Siglio, he is definitely someone who is out here fighting for the community. I really believe he has good intentions and a good heart, but it just wasn't his race. Alyssa Impink, girl, let's get it. This is the Andrea Hundley seat, and I'm so excited that is another sister, another teacher, another mom going back to the Senate in District 46. All right, let's look at some state house races that were competitive. There were a lot of uncontested races in the primary for House seat, but that's okay. That's all right. Some of our incumbents didn't have any contested races. That's fine. For District 13, Brianna Gueswin beat out Edward Moyer, 78 to 21%. I haven't met her yet, so hopefully we'll get her on the show. In District 20, Laura Liskey beat out Alicia Fireneck. Boy, I'm sorry. I didn't rehearse these names, and it shows. And, hey, District 29, this was another one of those races where I had to keep my mouth shut because I wanted both of these candidates to know that I was there for them. Devon Wellington, who we have on the show tonight, beat out Kumba Kimbe. Listen, that was a great race. I really appreciate the heart of both of these candidates. I'm excited to talk to Devon tonight, and we're going to get to know her. I'm always messing up her name. Please forgive me. But listen, this is a young person, Ms. Kimbe, who I think we ought to, make sure that we keep her engaged. She has some great ideas when it came to healthcare. I'm telling you, she's a fighter. We need to make sure that we keep her in the fold. But Devon Wellington wins that race. All right. In District 36, Kimberly Townsend beat out Naud Melkai at 87%. Don't know who either of those are. So hopefully Kimberly Townsend, we can get on the show. And I hope I haven't already had on the show. That's what happens when you're 55. Sometimes you remember, sometimes you don't. In District 37, Lauren Cole beat Joel Levi. Lauren beat Joel with 45% of the race. Going down to District 48, Emily Yaw beat out Carl D. Stutzman, 54 to 46%. In District 49, a three-way race. Michelle Milne won that district in a three-way race with 66% of the vote. That means she got more, 2/3 of the vote in a three-way race. She killed it. Also in District 58, Michelle Hennessy Sears beat out Eric Reingart. In District 61, Matt Pierce, we are sending him back. He beat out Liliana Young, 67% of the vote in District 61. State Representative in District 63, Tiffany Arthur won a three-way race against Anthony Boland and Adam Mann. She is going to be competing in District 63. All right. And then in District 70, Sarah Blessing beat out Jerry Finn and Tamara Andres at 49. She almost got over almost half the votes. Congratulations, Sarah Blessing. She's a podcaster herself, so I'm definitely going to try to get her on the show so we can hear from her. In District 72, Michelle Henry beat out Corey Cochran, 52%. And then in District 81, Sharon L. Wright beat out Chad Clevedence. I mispronounced it, but she got 81% of the vote. And then, honestly, the most contested race in the city was, first of all, Cherish Pryor won her election with 89% her re-election bid. But the most contested race in the city of Indianapolis was for District 95 between 3 Black male elected officials. I'm telling you, this was probably one of the deepest races, like where everybody was already a winner, everybody was already serving. But John L. Bartlett won in a three-way race. He got over half the votes. He beat out Councilman Tyrell Giles of Lawrence City Council, and he beat out Keith Graves, who came in third, who was a member of the City County Council. So I'm telling you guys, this is good stuff we got. District 97, Justin Moed beat Sarah Scheidel. Sarah, sis, keep hanging in there. I want you to come back. I got work for you to do. I promise you we can get some things done. And that is the list of contested races. Guys, I'm so proud of everybody who stepped up and put their name on the ballot. This is how democracy works, right? This is how democracy works. You win some, you lose some. I lost my election, and look at me. I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still doing the work. You don't have to be an elected. You don't have to be a elected party leader. You just show up and do the work. And now it's time for us to all of us to rally around these candidates who won these primary races. Do not ho-hum about it with your fake litmus tests, because we're a big tent party. Because it's a binary decision. You either have Republicans or Democrats. That's all you got. All right, y'all, that's my rant. Let's get them.
Now
Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All right. I'm super excited because this is the first election, or I'm sorry, dagnabbit. I can't even talk right now. I'm so excited. This is the first interview after the election. Now, here's what's cool about this particular interview. We booked it before the primary. I love that. Listen, I am so excited to meet Devon and talk to Devon because she was in a contested race. She booked the show, and now she's here to talk to us on Turn Left. Devon, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here for many reasons because, when we booked it, it was like, well, maybe we'll cancel if things don't turn out our way. So it's really exciting to be here talking to you today.
That's it. And listen, you had an amazing opponent.
Yes.
And I know that you guys were a lot aligned in a lot of ways on the issues. Normally, I wouldn't put you on the spot like this, but tell us what you saw in your opponent that people should know about.
Oh, I have so much respect for Kumba. She is whip smart, very charismatic, a really great communicator. Like you said earlier, we definitely need to keep her in this space. She has a lot that she brings to the party. And, it was really fantastic to be in a race where we gave people really viable options. It wasn't, sometimes in politics, people feel like they're picking the best of the worst options. And it was really fun to be in a race where that's not the case.
See, that's why I love being a Democrat, because you can put them on the spot, because I don't send questions in advance.
Yeah.
You put them on the spot. And it was so natural to give praise to your opponent. I appreciate that. Was there, aside from your own race, which I imagine you were probably pretty heads down, but was there any other race that you kind of peeked at?
Well, I'm in Congressional District 5, so we were watching that race pretty closely. And, talking with all the candidates, I got to know all of the congressional candidates. And so, that was a fun one to sort of be not a participant in because I was running my own race, but close to in proximity.
Yeah, I tell you what, I am super proud of J.D. Ford. He is. So last week when I was on, it was right after the SCOTUS decision, and I was hot, right? Yeah. I'm in my whole black lady feelings, right? And it was the ruling came out on Tuesday Wednesday, and by Thursday evening, I was still missing some comments from some people who swear they wanted black votes who hadn't said nothing. And so I went totally off, right? Couldn't help myself. J.D. Ford texted me in the middle of my rant and was like, yo, I said something, Dana. I said something. And I'm like, you know what? That's somebody, A, that understood how upset I was. And B, loved me enough to make sure that I knew where he stood on that issue. And so we have been following each other. I watched him run the first time when he was a candidate in 2014 for the Senate. Yeah. I ran in 2016. He watched me, and then I watched him again. We were kind of vibing off each other because we were both we weren't trying to center our queerness, but we also wanted to see how the world would kind of relate to us as our authentic selves. Yeah. We went on speaking tours together around Indiana, so I'm super proud of my guy. And today I did a fundraiser for him. So
good. He's great.
So you know what? Tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Well, my name's Devon Wellington. I'm in House District 29, so that's most of Noblesville and a little bit of Fishers up in Hamilton County. But I kind of come from all over. I not from Indiana originally. I am from the West Coast and then moved to the East Coast and have kind of lived places in between. And we have family who live in Noblesville. So we have been visiting for a really, really long time, over a decade before we decided to move here. And so kind of got a feel for the area. And we thought about, what kind of childhood. I have two kids. So I was thinking a lot about what do I want their experience in their child? When they look back, what will they remember? And Where we were living, it just wasn't going to be as carefree or safe for them to, be out in the street riding their bikes or, just things like that. Walking to their friend's house was never going to happen. Um, so we relocated. My husband and I both work remotely and could do that. And so we came to Indiana about 4 years ago.
Wow, y'all, look, there's somebody that chose to come to Indiana.
Yeah, I know.
They said, look, on the map, Indiana. You know that, so someone who's lived in California, lived on the East Coast, like that is rare for us. Most people are trying to get out of Indiana. I know that you mentioned safe neighborhoods and I imagine schools had to do with that. But what was it that made you say, you know what? I mean, other than those things, what other things made you say, you know what, Indiana's home?
The cost of living compared to where we lived, I know Hamilton County is getting more and more expensive. But compared to where we came from, it was a lot more affordable for us. And things like we say all the time, like we're still as busy, but we're less stressed about it. Like it would take us 30 to 40 minutes to go to the grocery store sometimes, just with all the traffic and how congested it was where we were living. And so like the fact that we can just pop down to the grocery store in 5 minutes is like a privilege to us. And the fact that there's like still green spaces and that we can still enjoy where we live has been really, really nice.
I love that. And was it a culture shock in any way?
Yeah. Let me say this. They say on the West Coast that people are nice but not kind. And they say on the East Coast people are kind but not nice. And I can see arguments for that for sure. And then we got to the Midwest and I was like, people are nice and kind. And so I don't know if they actually like me or they're just being nice. So like trying to figure out,
what are people's intentions?
Yeah, it's sort of like that Midwestern hospitality, that Hoosier hospitality, just trying to get a handle on like, that intention. It took me a minute to do that.
I can dig that. And I think so. But now on the West Coast, East Coast, the coastal areas are liberal bastions. Is that where your politics was developed?
So I was raised, I call myself a purple baby.
Okay.
So I have one parent who was a Republican, one parent who was a Democrat.
Okay.
And so growing up in my home, those conversations were very natural. We'd sit at the dinner table and I'd ask each of my parents like, hey, I saw this thing in the news. What do you think? What do you, and so I got that. I'm trying to think, growing up, politics wasn't something that I thought about too much. Where I lived in the East Bay, so east of San Francisco, which I think when people think of San Francisco, they either think of like hippies or they think of like guys in black turtlenecks with bad shoes or, like they think they have an idea. But I grew up in a little town called Pleasanton, which was a lot like how you would imagine it.
The name says it all, right?
It does. It kind of, and we had like the main street and we had the whole deal. So I had a good childhood, but of course, nothing's perfect. And so for me, I think politics kind of came into it when like I was in high school, my dad lost his job, we lost everything. And I was in this little idyllic town, but my family wasn't doing well. You know what I mean?
I
and
do.
So seeing how those systems like don't necessarily catch people was something that I experienced firsthand. Like my family needed help with groceries, and I think I probably have friends that still don't know that.
Right.
And so that like hidden hunger thing is something that I understand. But then going to the East Coast, it is generally more blue. But I was outside of the DC area. I was in Northern Virginia. So I was seeing both sides of it there too.
Yeah. Yeah. And but okay, so let me ask you this. Running for office is not easy, right? Being a public servant is not easy. What happened? What clicked for you to say, you know what? I'm about to go do this.
Yeah. It was a couple things. The first thing was that, so my background's in education policy, and I had reached out to my representative about some education bills that I was paying attention to, and said like, hey, I don't expect you to be an expert in this thing. It happens to be where my background lies, so I would love to meet with you and chat, and share what I know and what I'm seeing. And didn't get a response. And I was like, okay, kept trying. nothing. And things like that were really frustrating. But the thing that broke the straw that broke the camel's back was in Noblesville in the 2024 election. There was a school board election, and there was a self-identified Republican ticket, and then there was an independent ticket. And it was before the partisan school board vote, so no one was asking people to identify their political party, but a group decided that they were going to try to see if it could get them in. And Noblesville chose the independent ticket. Then in 2025, the legislature put forth a proposal for partisan school board races. And to me, that was a very clear, like, you know what your constituents want. We just voted on this. You have the data. You don't have to guess. And that was ignored. So our representative voted for partisan school board races. And that just sort of showed me that, like, that and just what I was seeing was like, oh man, like it doesn't matter what kind of data, hard evidence that we have.
Right.
The party line will be kept with this one. And so that was like a real, like, okay, if she's not going to listen to people and she's not going to do it, then why not me? And so I had considered a school board race, and talked with certain people who encouraged me to consider a state house race. And after looking at like where I could do the most good in the world, my background in policy, I work with states for my job, their Department of Education, trying to figure out how to get good outcomes in spite of bad policy. I work with a lot of conservative states. I figured, you know what? Yeah, like let's, instead of having to be in a position of a school board where you're kind of reacting to the policy, like let's just do good policy to begin with.
I love that. I love that because I remember what the reason was for me that got involved, and it changed my whole life. So, but when you started out because you understood education policy. First of all, I know it's got to like grind your gears every time you see where they're cutting teacher pay, cutting public school funding, making life harder for these educators. Talk about. I want to get your emotion out of it.
Yeah, listen. It makes me insane. Not only because like this is people's lives we're talking about, which it is. And I adore teachers and there's so much that they do. I really truly see them as frontline, right? Like when there's someone at school who's hungry, your teacher knows it first. Yeah. There's someone who doesn't have a coat or their shoes are too big or too small. It's the teachers. Like they're the ones who are frontline. So there's teachers who are providing food to kids because they know that you don't get educated when you're hungry. Like they do so much. And then we malign them for indoctrinating kids. Like, have you been in a classroom?
Right.
You know what they don't have time to do?
Any of the other stuff.
Right. Like, have you tried classroom management? And not only that, but like, I talk to teachers and they're like, one of the things in education that I feel like we don't talk enough about is like de-implementation.
Now, what is that?
It's like, we keep saying like, okay, here's the next best practice. Okay, now we're going to teach math or literacy or whatever in this way. Okay, we know that this works, but we don't de-implement what they were already doing. So for teachers, it's like, oh, it's just another thing on top of another, on top of another, on top of another. What we have seen this turn into in Indiana is like, okay, we have to adopt this practice for something like science of reading. Okay, no one's saying science of reading isn't effective or like you can talk about that, but on top of everything else, every other literacy initiative, every other curriculum that they're given, now they have to be trained on something else so it's like, at some point you have to say, okay, what's going to give then? In order to give the teacher the time to be effective in educating, something's got to go. Yeah. And we're not doing that. So I talk to teachers who are like, I have a week to teach all of long division, single, double, triple long division in a week.
A week?
And a week. And so they're like, of course, so when we're like test scores are dropping, okay, it's because we're giving teachers an impossible task. Not only that, we tell them they're not supposed to teach to the test, but the assessments that they are used for our students are not aligned to the curriculum they're teaching. So what are we testing? Is the testing aligned with human development? No. Is the curriculum aligned with human development? No. Do we give them enough time to teach the thing foundationally so that we're not having to repeat it 1,000 times? No. And so to see the legislature, which are not educators, passing legislation that affects literally all of our children and every community, every single, you know what I mean? Like it is so frustrating. And so, actually back in January, I was at the State House testifying against the House Education Committee, which was like both fun and frustrating. Fun in the sense of like, I was there on behalf of an advocacy organization and they wanted me to go in strong. So I got to go in strong.
Okay.
And that was kind of like, I got on the floor and I got to call out the author of a bill and to his face, you know, and like they kind of weren't paying attention until I said his name. And then he sat up. And we, you know, normally they give you 30 seconds or if you're lucky to say something and it's not really a productive use of, it's procedural in the supermajority to have people testifying. And so they don't care what you say. And we went back and forth for probably 15 minutes on the floor.
Wow.
Over a bill that was being proposed. And then the chairperson of the House Education Committee kind of jumped in and it was like cathartic in a way to be able to like talk to the people who are doing the things that are hurting education and teachers directly was something that definitely reinforced my desire to be in office. Not to say that that's always how you get to legislate, right? Like if it meant that, you know, if we could affect change with an impassioned speech, we wouldn't be where we are.
Listen, can't nobody give a more impassioned speech in Indiana than Indiana's own Dana Black. And I stand 10 toes down on that. And here I am still out here not writing policy.
Right. Well, and I wish that were the way. I wish, you know what I mean? Like that would be fantastic. But I spend my life in policy where I see like it takes years to get policy moved. And so knowing how policy normally gets made, which is very slow, and getting to be on the floor debating with people was like a really cathartic thing to do. But I know that's not how it normally works.
And I love that you have that story of, look, I'm not afraid to go and confront bad bills or the author of these bad bills. Not that I'm saying that these people are bad people, but listen, whatever bill they got from the last CPAC conference is not going to be a efficient or effective way to teach young people. And then on top of that, we want them to take gun training.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you obviously have a really strong education background, and not just education, but an education policy background, which I think is going to be incredibly effective. I cannot wait for you and Vernon Smith to get together and start talking about that. You love him, don't you? I know. See, I knew it. You
like after I got down, he was like, "Can you email me some of your notes?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, absolutely."
Absolutely. And Tanya Path. Those are some of the educators that I know. Clinker. Like some of the ones that I know that are on the education. Don. Come on. I'm having a brain freeze. I'm gonna pass over Tim Donnelly. Tim.
Oh, I don't know him well, but I do know Ed, who's also on it.
Thank you. Who? Ed Donnelly. Sorry, Ed. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Again, 55. I don't know what to tell you. Ed is one of my favorite state house reps. Because he's not afraid to go at him, but he is someone I cannot wait for. Do you guys know each other already?
We've met and we talked. I got to talk to him at an event about education. It was really, really cool. And, got to think.
When you win, you need to do everything you can to be his mentee.
Yes, he was very nice. Like, please reach out. Let's connect. Like, he was very supportive and
absolutely. He's I'm telling you. Anyway, needless to say, I watch a lot of committee meetings as well. Yeah. So so we established that you have a really strong education background, which is what we need here. We need some people who want to protect public education. But tell us about some of the other issues that you learned about when you were on this campaign trail that your constituents are talking about.
I hear a lot about property taxes, a lot, especially from people on fixed incomes or people who are retired and their assessed value is going up, and our property taxes are supposed to get relief, but it's not enough to be meaningful to people. And so I hear a lot of people that are like, I'm still working even though I'm supposed to be retired because we have to pay property taxes. And so that's a big one that I'm hearing about. Utilities, of course, is those are going up, and people are very frustrated. I mean, I was at IURC listening session where someone who works for a food bank got up and says, we have people coming in because they know they can only pay utilities or pay for groceries. They cannot pay for both.
Mm.
And they know that they can get food through us. And that hits close to home for me. And so utilities is a big one as well. And then, of course, costs of healthcare and the impact of even rural hospitals closing. The impact that's having on pricing in healthcare is something that I hear about as well.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, that you're in a traditionally red district, but we can flip it. I believe this is the year to flip it.
I do too. Especially
in Hamilton County. Hamilton County has been going more and more purple every election cycle. I think we can flip it. But one of the things that you're going to have to do is convince folks who have traditionally voted for the other side. Talk about your messaging. Talk about when you're talking to people who don't always align on the Democratic side of the House. How are you able to start up conversations and then, be genuine with them, right?
Yeah, I think the first thing I try to do is quickly find something that we agree on. So I've had conversations with, I'm going to say it. There's no one who loves talking to me more than an old white Republican man.
Yeah, because they're right. Because they're always right.
Right. And I'm like, oh, how that must be. Like, and it sort of doesn't even matter what I say. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, they're going to talk and okay. But my goal is always to get like one thing in about like, have you considered? There's only been one time that this hasn't happened, where most of the time they'll say, well, you seem reasonable. I could vote for you.
Love that.
And it's so funny to me that reasonable it feels like the entry level, it should be the entry level to a human being and also a politician. Right. But that right now is a high bar, someone who's reasonable. So that has been really, it's sort of just like an interesting sort of like sociological experiment, not experiment, but like experience that I've been having. But there's a lot of people who in Hamilton County are feeling like, oh, this isn't the Republican Party that I signed up for.
You mean they don't like the maggots?
There's not that we don't have them. Do not get me wrong.
Oh, yes, I know y'all got them because we saw the election results. We saw the election results.
Yes. Here's the thing. Where I am at, I get a lot of people whispering to me like, I'm a Democrat too. So there's a lot of people who do not align with the state party's way of doing things or the Republican Party's way of doing things, but they're not yet feeling comfortable enough to be like loud and proud about it. Like They're still whispering it to me. So hopefully making them feel comfortable that like a reasonable person is coming and showing people that we're not, crazy, evil people like they've been told that we are. Yeah. I hope will give people some confidence in our party.
Well, and on top of that, like nobody knows how you vote when you go into the voting booth. Like
I know.
You don't like I literally put an election day post up because I was witnessing in spaces, someone deciding they've made a choice on who they're going to vote for in the primary and then being I don't want to say berate because that sounds a little bit more violent than I want it to sound, but trying to suggest that what they are thinking is not what they should be thinking. And it's like, that's not right. Don't do that. Right. Yeah. And so when you go in the voting booth, this is you and yourself. That's it.
Yes.
I want more women, in particular, more white women. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody.
I'm with you.
I want more white women to realize that your Prince Charming he can be your Prince Charming, but you ain't got to vote the way he votes. He can get on his horse and rescue you all you want, but you still ain't got to vote the way he wants you to vote.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm hopeful that among, the moms and the white moms that we'll be able to get them to vote differently.
And what's crazy, Devon, like, we thought women's reproductive health would have been the thing to get our sisters to be like, bruh, nah, I'm not finna ride with you. But it didn't do it.
Can I tell you what I think it is?
Please tell me.
I think it was two things because I was, my kids are in elementary school, but when I had them was sort of the start of where you would see on Pinterest or Instagram, like, don't have Cheez-Its, make your own Cheez-Its, right? Make your own goldfish
Mm-hmm.
crackers, make your own fruit roll up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it was this rise of like moms can and should do all the things and make things from scratch. And that's the best for your kids. And you want the best for your kids. So it was sort of like this entry into like this trad wife movement that we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
started with like, well, you want what's best for your kids, right? So you're going to make your own Cheez-Its. And sort of moms killing themselves to try to do that. That happened at the same time as the Republican Party trying to use every legislative session to legislate how people play sports,
Mm-hmm.
specifically trans
Mm-hmm.
people in sports.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they put those two issues together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
So I've had people say like, well, listen, I'm a single issue voter because for my daughters. And I'm like, oh, great. Then they voted Democrat, right? Because women's reproductive health. And they're like, because I don't want my daughters playing sports with trans kids. And I'm like,
How many trans athletes do they think are actually
correct. Correct. And also, like, even if your kid's a college athlete, what are they going to do after college? What? Okay.
Right. Not everybody's going pro. And the NCAA even has a whole commercial that says some athletes are going pro, just not in sports. Like,
But most of them don't.
exactly. The vast majority of them don't.
The vast majority don't get a college scholarship for sports. It's what, like 2% of kids that go to college? Like, so this issue that is being brought forth every legislative session is being used to scare people
Mm-hmm. Fear mongering.
into voting one way that is actually against their interests.
I know a black minister here in Indianapolis, and he was raving for 9 months about trans athletes. And then halfway through the 2025, the first year, first half of the first year of this current Orange Menace administration, he was starting to get pissed off. And I was like, but bro, the 10 trans athletes, that's what you decided to, now you mad? Now you mad that ICE is out here killing people in the streets? Now you mad. We tried to tell you. And Devon, I reserve the right. And we are welcoming those that are like waking out of their cult shell, right?
Sure.
We're welcoming folks that are like, you know what? I see the light. We are definitely welcoming them. And just like they reserve the right to be in that cult for as long as they were in it and then have the right to get out of that cult, I have the right to say, I told you so. I'm not taking away I'm being petty and I know it. But if you come over here, we tried to tell you.
Well, like take accountability at least, right? Like,
yes, because look, everything is worse than it was under Biden. And if anybody says that it's not, they are delusional and they are still drinking the syrup, the cough syrup. They're still drinking it and it's orange.
Yeah.
It's orange. So listen, you know what? You're going to win this election in November. Tell the people what the first pieces of a legislation that you are either going to author, want to author, want to co-author, or just want to advocate for. What do those pieces of legislation look like?
Can I give you like my pie in the sky if I could do one thing?
Give it to me. I like pie in the sky, especially if it's pecan or key lime.
Yeah, exactly. Pie in the sky, if I could do one thing in office, there's something called the Montana Plan. Have you heard of it?
I have not. Please tell us what it is.
Okay, so in Montana, what they found is in their state's constitution, they say, if you're a business operating here, you operate under our rules. There are rights that we give you as a business, and there are rights that we can take away from you as a business.
Okay.
And so they're proposing essentially overturning Citizens United at a state level, saying if you are operating in Montana, you do not get to contribute to political campaigns. That's as a right of doing business here. You may not participate in political contributions.
Love that.
Anyone who operates within the state or wants to contribute as an out-of-state business. Businesses do not operate with politicians there. That's the rule. Indiana's state constitution gives us the same right. And if we could enact something like that, 90% of the special interest issues that are coming up in places like healthcare and education would go away.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. What do you call it? The Montana what?
Montana plan. And in fact, Pete Buttigieg just did an Instagram reel about it. And I texted it to my campaign manager, like, oh my gosh, Pete's talking about it too.
Okay. And they love them
so,
some Pete.
So it's gaining a little traction, which is really exciting. Yeah.
I love that. And that's the key, right? These politicians, and it's both sides. I'm not going to act like some Democrats, but taking PAC money from the NRA, in my opinion, is different than taking PAC money from the ACLU. Or the AFL-CIO.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just different. I mean, I guess I wish people would stop that though. I really do wish people would stop saying what they're not going to take when you need every dollar you can get to win these elections.
Right. And so if we could just negate that, that would be great.
Like Congressman Carson even said in an interview, he was like, listen, they give me the money, but they give me the money after I tell them this is my position and I'm sticking to it. Right. The weak person, and I'm going to say this out loud, the weak person is the one that allows money to influence the decisions that they make. Right. The person who does not have empathy for the humans who are in this country, who are willing to sell us out. Ron Gibson, Indianapolis City County Council, District 8, Democrat, that is willing to sell us out for money, does not care about the humans that they are supposed to be representing. I love that. So, okay, we got 10 more minutes. I want to tell me something give me something that I haven't asked you that you want to make sure that you share with everybody. Because this is the week that you are supposed to go on vacation, and give yourself a break, right? Because running for office is not easy. And you just had a competitive primary, and you're going to need to rejuvenate. You're going to need to spend some time with your husband because, you got to make sure the dudes is all right. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I know you're like, oh, wait, I got this interview. But tell us something I didn't ask you.
Yeah, I'd love to share sort of like how I view the role of government and governing, what that should look like to me. Based off of, a very personal experience my family had. My dad had a real big health scare about 10 years ago. And in this process, we're very lucky he's still with us, but he wasn't supposed to survive. And so people kept calling him and being like, hey, we're so sorry that you're probably going to die. And that wasn't helpful. As he turned out. Yeah, it wasn't helpful. And so we knew it came from a good place, but let's figure out a better way to do this. So we came across something called ring theory. And ring theory is this idea that if you have someone in crisis, it was developed by a psychologist for someone with a terminal illness, but this idea that if you picture someone in crisis in the middle of a ring and then concentric circles sort of going out from that middle circle, the person in crisis in the middle gets to complain or grieve or, be upset to anyone in the circles farther away. So it's like my dad, and then the next closest circle was my mom, and then me and my siblings, and then friends and acquaintances and community, right? So my dad can complain to anyone. My mom can complain to anyone except for my dad. To my dad, she provides comfort and support. I can complain to my husband and my friends, but to my mom and dad, I provide comfort and support. So the farther away you get from the center, we say dump out, comfort in my family. And as I've been looking at how the state seems to operate and our state government seems to operate, we seem to be doing the opposite of that. It feels like we are comforting out and dumping in. So if you're, a kid with a disability on Medicaid, forget it.
Right.
We're not going to take care of you here. And because I have seen how policy works, I know that if you comfort in, that person in crisis doesn't stay in crisis. Right. So they'll move out to a circle that's not in the middle, not in the center. And I just feel like, to me, that is smart governance. I feel like prevention beats intervention. I feel like we know how to best use the dollars that we have, our tax dollars, and whether that's state or federal, and that's not what's happening. We're paying the back end of poverty. We're paying the back end of Band-Aid solutions for problems that we create. And it's just, to me, the most ineffective form of governance.
Yeah.
Like we see people, I heard someone say, they said to me, all I've ever wanted was for our government to be run like a business.
No.
And I said, what kind of business? Right? Because a good business looks at ROI, right? Like the return on investment in feeding kids and education and healthcare, like the ROI, everyone knows that it costs less to give someone healthcare to begin with than it does to pay for the emergency room care that they're going to have to give if they don't have it. Like we know this.
Right.
And so, I would love to see governance work in a way where we're focusing on prevention.
Yeah, we always want to just treat the symptoms and not the problem, because I am convinced I have a conspiracy theory, right? Everybody has one or two. I mean, why cure you when I can make more money on just treating the symptoms and keeping you alive?
Yeah.
Why cure you?
Yeah.
Right? You seem to have did you study psychology too in school?
Yes, my master's is in applied developmental psychology.
Well, hello.
Yeah.
I wonder how I picked that up. My goodness. Because one of the things I can see is that you see other people first. Like just in this conversation, you see other people first. I don't know what I'm saying with that. I just.
That's really nice that you see that. Thank you. I appreciate that because I think that's I would say that like I try to, but it's sort of just something that has come naturally. And in fact, I had a coworker one time who said someone had, given me a compliment and he said, "Oh yeah, she works really hard to be kind." And at first I was like, "Works hard to be kind? Like, what are you trying to say?" Like I took that as an insult that like I have to work at it. And he was like, "No. Like it sort of is what the framework under which you operate is putting."
Because I imagine your starting point starts with love, doesn't it?
Yeah, I try.
Right? Like I know that.
Not to say I'm not petty sometimes, and that people don't make me mad. I will.
I'm real petty. Not only am I petty, but I'm passive aggressive, and I am the queen of passive aggressiveness because I'm kind. My kindness prevents me from cussing you all the way out.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, I do that too. In fact, when I was pregnant and real mad, my husband said something one time that was like, you're being kind of snappy. And I was like, oh, you have no idea what I'm not saying. Like, this is me being nice right now. So you can just...
Like, I literally put a post up a couple weeks ago that says my maturity is helping me keep my menopause in check. Because I'm telling you, baby, menopause be making you want to say what the hell ever. The older I get, the less F's I give about, and I have to remember, Dana, you have children watching you. You have a goddaughter and a niece and nephews who are watching you. You have strangers who are watching you. You have to, but baby, these folk, sis.
Yeah.
If they only knew what I'm.
If they only knew what I'm thinking. I know. Yes, I feel you on that for sure.
That means you're going to be real successful in this business. You will be able to look at someone talking crazy like the old white Republican male and be like, okay. And you're going to do it with a smile on your face.
Yeah. And then you think, how did you get here? How
did you make it this far? Because you want to know how they managed to live this long making the decisions that they're making. You're like, yep.
Like, man, the world really is built for you because how did you get here?
How did you get here? So, you know what, Devon, thank you so much for joining me on Turn Left. This was a fun conversation because, one of the things I tell folks before the show starts is like, we just like gonna be homies chopping it up.
Yeah.
And literally we were just homies chopping it up. I am so grateful that I got a chance to meet you. I wish I had met you originally in the campaign trail so that I could have had a contrast between you and Kumba. I met Kumba early and I was like, oh, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? But
yes, I do.
And I would have been heartbroken to have to like go, oh no, like it would have just been heartbroken to have to, but I'm glad I didn't have to choose because I didn't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah.
So tell the people where they can find you.
My website is votedevon.com. That's my Facebook. My Instagram is votedevon, because that's the handle we could get. And then on TikTok, which I'm also still, working on a little bit, is Vote Devon as well.
I love it. And I know you're probably, like I said, you're going to probably take a week or two off because you need to. And then do you have any fundraising events or any volunteer opportunities that could be coming your way?
We will take all the volunteers we can get. And in fact, to your rant at the beginning of like, all right, now it's time to get involved. I know that there was a lot of people, especially where we live, who like the primary was new for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take every last one of us. We can flip the seat, but it will not be without a lot of effort. And so anyone in whatever capacity, on my website, we have a volunteer form where you can fill out how many hours a week, if you like to do digital outreach, if you like to be boots on the ground, like we want to make it as convenient for people as possible to volunteer with our campaign. And of course, I'm not going to say no to any donations or fundraising. We're definitely trying to gear up for that now that we've gotten through the primary.
I love that.
So yeah, we're
ready. I gotta ask you, because I work at ActBlue, and we have this ActBlue field tools.
Yes,
how are you managing your volunteers?
We do use field tools. I was using for phone banking on the day of the primary, just going through this thing.
Yes, I am excited that she is using ActBlue field tools. Yes, because you know what? There's no licensing fee. You can get started and signed up. And yay! I was just getting ready to say, listen, holla at your girl so I can talk to you about field tools, but you're already using it. I love that.
We use that. Our volunteers use it. We use it for phone banking, for text banking, for keeping track of everything. It's been so useful. And so easy for our volunteers to just like jump on and get going.
I love it. Thank you. Well, listen, I'm excited. Now you are done politicking for the week. You go rest, go curl up with a good book or a good movie, talk to the boys, because you ain't seen them in a while. Right?
I know.
You ain't seen the kids. Spend some time with the kids. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Mother's Day weekend. Right? And just relax. So happy Mother's Day. And then I say, go take the rest of this week and maybe next week, and then be ready to hit the ground all summer long, because it's going to be nonstop. And I wish you the absolute best of luck. But more importantly, I am here to help you. So do not hesitate to reach out to me if you need some help, especially from an ActBlue perspective, so I can show you how to maximize your digital fundraising. Speaking of fundraising, we will not leave this call without saying, if y'all like listening to Devon, click her donate link. If you start now and become a $10 recurring donor, you will we have 25 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we have a few months. No, it's months. How many months? Like 4 months? If you become a $10 donor, you can give $50 to $60 to this campaign. If you can give more, right? But if we can get 10 people to give $10 a month between now and election, she's going to have some money to really get her message out, be competitive, because even phone banking, texting, all of those things cost money. And so when people ask why you need to have money, so that you can talk to the voters. That's why you raise the money. So guys, Devon Wellington, running in House District 29. Get with her. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't hang up yet.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, first of all, can you imagine having, watch the returns on Tuesday? You were probably up late, and then you did your post-election win dance all night long, and then probably had to work the next couple of days, and thinking that you could wind down and still had to come talk to my loud behind. Can you imagine if that was your life? I want to thank Devon for being that person that came on the show right after the election. I know how hard it is, but guys, I'm going to say it one more time, because that's what politicians do. We repeat things over and over again. I'm just an unelected politician. That's all. I'm a politician. I'm just unelected. It's time for us to get to work. It's time for us. Take your break. For all the candidates who didn't win their election, take a break. Take a beat. You're human. You visit your family, go on vacation, hug your kids, hug your grandkids, play with your dog. I don't care. Do what you got to do to get that self-care, because I know personally how disappointing it is to put so much effort into a campaign and it doesn't actually work out. But the whole point of you putting your name on the ballot was to make sure that representation mattered and that folks in Indiana had fair representation in the state house. So we still need you. Just like when I lost my race, I did not stop. I lost my race November 2026. I was having meetings with the chair of the party talking about, I want to do more. because that's what I'm about. I was about flipping seats, always have been. It ain't about how I look or, the fact that I can give a good speech or any of those other things. It's about doing the work. So take your break, tell your supporters to take their breaks, and then find a campaign that closely aligns with your vision and values. It doesn't have to be in the same district you're in. That might be too painful. Everybody processes differently, right? Find a candidate or a campaign that you can ride with and get down and offer a little bit of your time or a little bit of your money or a little bit of your resources. Time, talent, or treasure. And we have everything we need to make a change. Because you see what they did. They put more maggots on the ballot. Every candidate should be leaning into, they put more maggots on the ballot. They put more people that want your gas to go up to $6 a gallon because it's already at $5. You got more people that are trying to end public education as we know it. There's people trying to put data centers everywhere. But some of them are Democrats, so I have to remember some of them, like Ron Gibson. Yes, I'm really mad at him. He's my counselor. But let's get out, let's do the work, and let's make sure we support these candidates. All right, Indiana's on Dana Black. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will holler at y'all next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions, executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by Dorian and 22 from Pixabay.